Many thanks for staying with us, everyone. If you are a Nigerian or you are a businessman who has business interest in Nigeria, all the same, wherever you're watching, on your mobile, on your television set, on your computer, stay glued with us, because in the next half hour or so, we'll still be dissecting the issues relating to the promises and the agenda of this present government, which has spent 2 years and has 2 years more to go in these mandates that has been given at the polls. Well, let's continue with that conversation, but let me quickly go back to Abuja, where the spokesperson of government of the president is talking to us, Mr. Femi Adesina, on the issue of legality. I was asking you about some of these cases, which brings to mind concerns of some Nigerians, the issues of Biafra and the IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, the issue of El Zazaki, the issue of Dasuki. These are issues that are very sensitive, legally speaking, of course. What can you tell us more on these? Because we've heard little from the president himself on this very one. And what can you tell us the reasons why government has taken that position, which some people think maybe the government is intolerant and perhaps has little or no regard to court judgment and court rulings, asking for bail for some of these people?
No, I wouldn't agree with you on the issue of intolerance. This government in the past 2 years has not manifested any form of intolerance in any way, well, to the best of my own knowledge. The IPOB, we know how far it has gone. At least Nnamdi Kanu is on bail now, despite the fact was the case against him was treason. But since courts admitted him to bail, now he's been allowed to go on bail. The others, like I said earlier before we went on break, the Attorney General, the Chief Law Officer of the country, has explained that there are still some legal issues to sort out. And when those issues are sorted out, I'm sure that the needful will also be done.
Okay, let me come to Prof. You are the lawyer, because before I come to you, Mr. Lima, some of this situation is a matter of perception, isn't it? When people think, oh, this government is intolerant. You see protesters and they have been dispersed by policemen with tear gas and water cannons. And what do you make of this government's tolerance in a democratic environment?
Well, if we stick with the cases you have raised, the El Zaki, the former CSO and all that, you have to understand that these are matters that relate to the security of the nation. There are laws that allows the Attorney General to look at them, look at the court order, look at the investigations that are going on, and make sure, as the Chief Law Officer and also somebody who we see in the Temple of Justice, to be able to make the right decision that is in the best interest of Nigeria. So there are laws like anti-terrorism and security issues that can come in. In terms of human rights issues, there are human rights challenges, you know, that will come up in the face of handling certain situation. But I don't think we've gotten to very, you know, situation where we label the government as being anti-human rights. Well, I don't think we've gotten that.
It's still okay.
Yeah, because basically in policing and in security, there are things. Let's take an example. Just this last week, the customs discovered that some people were bringing in arms and ammunition. And you wonder, what do you want to bring all that ammunition into the country to do? So there are people who are really sponsoring insecurity. And that may take us to our discussion on security.
Absolutely.
Because in the absence of security, and this country, we have insecurity issues. And when you don't have security, you cannot even start to enjoy peace and talk about democracy and all that. And we need to address the issue of insecurity. And I think this government has to be given kudos when it comes to issues of insecurity, particularly when they came in at the height of insecurity in the northeastern part of the country. However, there are other nuances about insecurity particularly Fulani headsmen, that has replaced Boko Haram as it is. And these are issues that need to be addressed.
Mr. Liman, insurgency in the northeast, that looks so much like something that a lot of people had given thumbs up to this government. The release of the Chibok girls, but there still seems to be some attacks by the Boko Haram insurgency. What would be your rating of this government in terms of security? How do you think they've fared?
Well, with respect to the Boko Haram and the northeast situation, I think that was the first major foray Mr. President did when he, after the inauguration, if you remember, he went visiting Paul Biya in Cameroon, Idriss Déby in Chad, and then his counterpart in Niger, because of the multinational dimension to the, and he moved the command center to Maiduguri, away from Abuja, and drastically reduced the menace of Boko Haram, as epitomized also by the bringing back of, I think, more than 100 of the girls that have been abducted by those criminal gangs. So phone conversations and regular contacts with the Northeast, has shown tremendous amount of progress, and that has to be, kudos has to be given to the administration on that aspect. And like you said, the age-old crisis of the Fulani herdsmen versus the indigenous, a lot of people have attributed it to the dwindling resources in terms of the grazing land that is available, and then the fact that those routes, cattle routes that used to exist had been taken over for developmental purposes and all that. So there's a lot of challenge, and happily the governors of the South and the people in the Middle East, the Middle Belt, together with the Fulanis, are sitting and talking that these are really economic crises. Sometimes criminals also take advantage of the hundreds of cows that move in the night, cattle rustling and all that kind of thing. So you have a criminal dimension.